Hello, we're back. This is going to be probably a little bit more fun. You definitely probably want to take some notes. And as I always say, you can watch this video over and over again. That's fine. That's what they're here for. That's what's on our site. You can go back and do a review. You can take some notes. There's always lots and lots of good nuggets that we put in these videos so that when you go back and watch them, go, I watch it, and I've already heard that from a few people that they watched it 3 times, and every time they hear it, they hear something different. Probably because I throw a lot of information out there in the meantime. But let me do this. I'm going to go to my share screen. We're recording this right now. Go to the share screen, and we're going to go to our PowerPoint again because that's where we have all of our fun information, and we'll do a slideshow, and away we go. So this is going to be dealing with the nonprofits. So once you get to this point, you'll be able to watch this a few times and you'll probably get it. It's not complicated, but it's a very, very important part of this because this does have to do with your income and getting paid on the sales with price point cards. Um, Starting with nonprofits and then the 5 ways to sell cards, all combined into this video. So we're going to start with the nonprofits. What do I do? How do I bring on a nonprofit? What are the things that I need to be thinking about? And so we'll just start right there. So if you have somebody that you reach out to, you may even know somebody that has a nonprofit or somebody that does fundraising or has manages a nonprofit or a community foundation, and the list goes on and on and on. It's going to take an initial interest meeting, right? You're going to want to go meet with them and just say, hey, got time to meet? I want to show you what we've got. This may also come as a result of your marketing. You may talk to a business owner who says, my sister manages a nonprofit, and I think this would be really good for her. I'd like to get you connected. Would you be willing to talk to my sister about what you guys do? And you're going to say, absolutely. What's the name of her nonprofit? What does she do? What is their focus, right? And so then now you have this initial meeting, this initial connection. I always say it's always good to meet in person, meet for a cup of coffee, sit down and talk about, hey, let's talk about your nonprofit. How did you get it started? Great questions. What is your focus? What are your goals? Where do you want to take this thing? And now you have an initial meeting, an initial interest, and of course, if they like what we're doing and it's a fit, then that just leads into the next step. The next step is we encourage you, don't try and do everything yourself. It's not professional. We're all a team. We're all in this together. Let us help you put this together. What that simply means is connecting them very much like we're doing right now. We're doing a live meeting essentially that we're recording. We can do this by doing a live online meeting where we can talk to the founder of the nonprofit or the group of people that are running the nonprofit. Let's just set up a meeting and let's ask some important questions about where they want to go, how soon do they want to do this? What is their level of interest in working with us? Is it kind of they're just checking things out? Or are they really serious about moving things forward with us and they want it to happen like yesterday? So we just need to find those things out, and that comes out in a mutual meeting. Then the next thing that we want to find out is what kind of nonprofit do they have? How big are they? Sometimes nonprofits can be too big to work with. They might have hundreds of people in them, and it might be a huge organization. They don't need us. They don't want us. We would be piggybacking on them, and they might see us as being something that slows them down from reaching their goals. So there has to be some kind of a natural mutual connection that we work together. So the minimum requirements, when you have a person that has a nonprofit, and we have many of them out there that we've actually even met with, it's a one man band show, right? They're doing everything. And because they're not making any money because they're a one-man show, they also have another job. And so they have their daytime job, right? And then they have kids and they have family and they have school stuff. Typically, and I don't want to be cruel, but these types of nonprofits, they don't generally last very long because these people get burned out. It's a lot of volunteering and it's a lot of work. And even though their goals and aspirations are to do something really good in the community and their hearts are in the right place, these people get burned out because they're doing everything. They're wearing 15 different hats trying to build this nonprofit. Typically, it's not a good situation for us to get into because as much as we want to help them, they're not going to be able to help us, if that makes any sense. So what we want to do is look for something that's a little bit more established, been around for a few years. There's more than one person running the show. You know, 2, 3, 4 managers is good. 20, 30, 40 volunteers involved is good. That's a typical nonprofit that might be like a branch of Feeding America or something like that. But that's what we're looking for, you know, and by the way, there are a million of those. There's a bunch of established nonprofits that we can work with. Um, Fundraising. What is their goal? What do they want to raise? These are two huge questions that we need to ask. You can do it in the initial meeting if you want, or we can do it later as the meeting progresses. But what we want to ask is, and we do it this way, Bob, what are you guys thinking? How much do you want to raise over the next 3 months? Or possibly over the next 6 months? Do you have a 3 month, do you have a 6 month goal of how much you want to raise? We want to ask that question because we don't want to tell them, we don't want to come in, and I'm going to make a note of this. We don't want to come in and say, this is how much we can raise for you. It's not going to work. They don't get it. They can't, they're not thinking along our lines. We have to figure out, in most cases, and I'm just going to use this as an example, they may come in and say, well, our initial thinking is we'd like to raise $1,500 for the next 90 days. And with that $1,500, we can do X, 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 and X. Okay, cool. We can do that because in order to raise $1,500 in 90 days, all we have to do is take 1,500 and divide that by 30. And that means they got to sell 50 cards. That's it. And you have 20 people. So if you have 20 people involved, right? 20 people divided into 50. I mean, basically, what are we talking? 50 divided by 20 people. Each person's going to sell 2 or 3 cards. We can do that. Honestly, we could do that in a week. If you have a team meeting and you give everybody a sample card, say everybody got a sample card, and now your goal is to go and sell 2 more or 3 more. I can tell you with just family, friends, and associates, with their efforts, we could probably sell these cards and sell out in a week, maybe 2 weeks. So if their goal is, well, we'd like to raise $3,000, we'd like to raise $6,000 in the next 6 months, okay, fine, we can show them that $6,000, right? We can just do some real fast math, divide that by $30, because that's what they get paid on a card. That means that they have to sell 200 cards over the next 6 months. Can they do that? Oh, very, very easily. Very easily. We have organizations that do 100 cards in 1 week. We got 100 cards in 2 weeks. So as you can start to see here, it's more important for us to find out what their goal is, how much they want to raise. Now, if they come back and they say, well, we want to raise $20,000, okay, $20,000 divided by $30 a card, they need to raise 650 cards. They need to sell 650 cards. Now, 650 cards divided by 12 months means that they got to sell 50 cards a month. Can they do that? Yes. Can they reach that goal of 20,000? We can do it in a year. Yes. If they want to do it in 6 months, we can do that. If they have enough people, it all comes down to how many people do they have. If they've got 200, 300, 400 people that are volunteers and that's all part of their team and their framework, yes, we can do that. So that's where the logistics comes in, and that's where we can help you. And so don't ever lose any sleep over this. We can sit there and say, okay, let's do the math. And then, because corporately on our side, we're going to want to know how many cards do we initially need to print with their logo, and all of that. So we'd get all that figured out. So logo design for the foundation, card design, we handle all of that. We work with you. If that now nonprofit or foundation, maybe they don't have a logo or design, they may be in that, maybe in the early stages, but they have a really good foundation and they have a lot of people working together. That's okay. We can do that. We'll help them with design. We'll help them with graphics. We can do a lot to help them. We can even help them if they need some work with building a website or a web page or something. There's a lot of things we can do to help them, outside of our parameters. The next thing is once all of this is done, which by the way, everything that we've talked about here only takes a matter of days. So if we know that they're seriously on board with us, they've got a logo, they're ready to go, they're telling us we want to start on this thing like in 2 weeks, we can do that. We can set up an online shopping link. We'll create a form that they have so that they can have a sign up form with a QR code that links right to their card online, so that it will take the person that wants to buy that card right to the shopping where they pay for it right there, Johnny, on the spot. We can set all of that up and it takes basically a day. We then can give them weekly reporting. Let's say that this is going to be a 6-month project, a 6-month goal, and they want to raise $10,000 over the next 6 months. Okay, we can do that. We will give them weekly reporting. So we can say, okay, this week you sold 120 cards, and 120 cards times 30, you got $3,600. You got a check coming for $3,600. We will send it to them. And some organizations are saying, well, if you could just set it up so you send us a check at the end of each month. No, we can do that. We can do it weekly, or we can do it monthly, as a payout to the organization, depending on what they want to do. So here's what's cool. And this is why it's important for us to let them take the lead. When we ask them, how much do you want to raise over the next 3 months? How much do you want to raise over the next 6 months? What are your goals? We can then tailor what we do to them. We don't want to take them off track of what they're thinking. We don't want to overwhelm them. Well, we've had some people make mistakes and say, oh, that's nothing. We can raise $1,500 in 2 weeks. What we ought to be thinking about is how can we get you set up where you can sell 5,000 cards? And they get overwhelmed and they go, man, because they can't comprehend that. They're used to making 50 cents on a candy bar. They're used to selling cherry juice and making $3. They're not used to selling something and making $30 and having everybody sell 3 or 4 and making all of a sudden $3,000 in a month. They're not used to thinking that way. So we have to be very careful and tailor what they do. Here's what's cool. When we help them reach their goal and we can meet or surpass it, the next step is they're going to see how this works and they're going to come back to and say, could we do this again? That was almost too easy. And now we could say, yes, you may want to just reconsider this and we can print more cards to support you, but this really could be an ongoing year-round fundraising thing for you. Here's what's cool to the nonprofit, and then I'm going to move to the next slide, is don't forget to tell these people this is a recurring income. You don't just sell a card once, because the people that are buying these cards are going to probably want to go back. If they're getting some really good deals at restaurants and eateries and coffee, and I just got a deal on 4 tires for my car and saved $150 because this guy gave me a deal because of the price of a car, and I saved 100. You know what? I'm going to renew my card every year, right? And so these people are going to have renewals coming up. So now when they get the renewals coming up, they're thinking, wow, okay, we're making money all over again. We should think about how to maybe do this longer term. So that's all part of this whole process. So let's get into, because you're making money now when these foundations are selling cards. As a marketing director, you're getting paid on these cards. There's 5 major ways that we sell cards, and as we just talked about, is the nonprofits. They're automatically going to sell the cards to reach their goal. On our back end, you are getting paid. So if you have a nonprofit and they sell, 100 cards, you just made $750. That's 100 cards times 30. They made $3,000, right? So $3,000 times 0.25, you just made $750. But as we just got to talking about, you're going to make that again next year, because when all those card holders renew and this card gets more and more established and more mature, and people keep seeing all the deals on the card, they're going to pay $60 again. It's just like a Costco card. It's just like a Sam's Club card. I know that if I can use this card year round and save money at deals on just on the eating out, or even grocery stores that are giving 10% off for using the card. All these things start to add up, and it's like, man, for $60 a year, I can save a lot of money. This card, I'm going to renew it. So we're going to see that, and of course, that really has a direct effect on your income. Lions clubs, Rotary clubs, and AMBUCs, they're everywhere. They're in your backyard. You don't have to do it today, but I do suggest that you join a Lions club, join a Rotary club, join the AMBUCs, because, and you don't have to join them to have them work with us. We have many of them that are using us as a, foundation for doing, fundraising. But these groups have their own goals, and they do fundraising to support different foundations. So they're kind of like your salespeople, if you will. Think of it that way. So if you get a Lions Club and they have 30 members, right? Think about it this way. One Lions Club with 30 members, 30 times 3, they're going to sell 100 cards. They're going to make you $750 in a week or two just by selling their cards. They're probably going to do a whole lot more than that, because when they see how easy this is, they're going to probably go sell 1,000 cards in a year. So, they're going to make you some money. Same thing for Rotary clubs. They operate pretty much the same way as a Lions Club. Different communities have different things. Some have Lions clubs and Rotary clubs. Some just have Rotary. So do a little bit of homework in your community. Now, I would suggest this. If you're going to do anything, get connected to some Lions Club directors or managers. Same thing for Rotary Club, and same thing for AMBUCs. Start making your connections with them now. They have a tendency to move a little slow. So if you start reaching out to them and making connections with them now, then when you have your communities developed and we're ready to start doing more and more and more fundraising, you will have built up some relationships with the Lions, Rotary, and AMBUCs groups that are in your community. And just think of it this way, these are your future salespeople. So think of it that way. Movie theaters are great. We have a new relationship in our area called Goodrich Theaters, GQT Theaters, Goodrich Quality Theaters, and they are now moving us forward to selling our cards in the theaters and even showing some of our ad videos that we have put together in the theater. How cool is that? Well, this could be a very good opportunity for you in your community. Think of it this way. If we're doing it here in Michigan, what about Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, and so forth? They all have community, small mom and pop theaters. Some of these theaters are owned by a group where they might own 4 or 5 or 6 theaters. There are many of those. So add that to your list of people to connect with, and how can we get those theaters on board? And if you need help with that, just ask us, because we can work with you on that. But you have a good point too with us with the Goodrich Theaters as an example. Community action nonprofits. Here's an example: the Battle Creek Community Foundation. We're working with them. They're huge. They have, I think, 300 or 400 volunteers every month that help them do different things for raising money for the downtown Battle Creek, Michigan area. The Downtown Community Foundation is all about how can we get our downtown area thriving, more prosperous? How can we support the local small business owners that are in our downtown area? And that is typical for any community action nonprofit anywhere. Kalamazoo has one. Canton, Michigan has one, and the list goes on and on and on. So if you're in Florida, if you're in Kansas City, Missouri, doesn't matter. You have a community action nonprofit that is all about supporting the local business and trying to, if not preserve, they're trying to find ways that they can keep the downtown area of local businesses growing and thriving. And so they are really, really good connections for us, because they will get us connected to the local businesses. They'll get us connected to promoting the price point card to the local businesses. The local businesses can get involved in our card. The community action can actually promote and sell our card on their site. And the revenue from the card sales goes back to those local businesses. So it's really a great three-legged stool. And then finally, number 5, and this can be a fun one for you. If you're a marketing person, you can sell our cards individually. You can do personal marketing through social media, through family, through networks, through media postings, Facebook postings, LinkedIn, even Alignable, direct mail. You can do your own direct mail marketing to get the price point card, and you can have your own link set up to sell it. Very, very cool. And we can get more into that as you get to that point of setting those things up. We will work with you on that. Advertising, you can advertise the price point card, and you can drive traffic to a link that we can set up. And then, of course, the $30 goes to a nonprofit, and then you get paid on the back end on the profits of the card. So there's some money to be made there, over and above the 25%. You get 25% automatically, but you can also make money on the card by selling it and then donating some of that money back to some of the community action programs that you're helping to support. But yeah, you can make $30 a card. So, and then donate some of that money. So we'll get into that more and more. We have a marketing postcard that you can buy. You can buy 1,000 of them. You can buy 2,500 of them, and you can hand them out everywhere you go to create awareness. So if it was me, that's one of the first things I would be doing is I would be getting this postcard. It's a generic postcard. All it's designed to do is to drive people to our main site where they can go there. And keep it in mind, you automatically, if somebody were to go and buy just one of our cards from your territory, whether it's your community, whatever, you automatically are going to get paid on that card. So if you're putting postcards everywhere you go and marketing and promoting this, number one, you're creating awareness. People are going, well, check this postcard out. I can buy this card and save money on all these different things. Cool. They're going to go, they're going to watch our videos, they're going to check it out. They're probably going to say, hey, why not? I'll try $60 for a year and see what this does. So you're going to get some results from that. So that's our wrap up. Don't want to take it any longer than this. You can watch, as I've said before, you can easily make notes, and you can watch these videos again. I'm going to stop sharing. There we go. And we'll end our recording here. Hope you guys are getting some stuff out of these videos, and you're starting to make some notes, and you're starting to get some good stuff out of it.